We will start renovating the house, and the first room to renovate is this terrible green hell, because it's actually gonna be the bedroom. And before we move in, all this green wallpaper has to go, all the laminate flooring has to go. So let's get started. Finally, we're starting with our renovation process. It's the main bedroom that desperately needs a makeover. Green wood chip wallpaper, ugly laminate flooring, everything has to go to change it into this. A warm, cozy sanctuary with natural tones and modern touches. As I said, everything has to go, and every journey begins with the first step. And in this case, it's the floor that we step upon. The terrible kitchen countertop-like stuff they put in here years ago. Quite funny to see how delicately and cautious I tried to remove the boards in the beginning, because in the end I brutally just ripped everything out. And while you watch me taking my first steps back into the exciting world of renovation and makeover again, let me grab the chance and thank you all for your very nice and kind comments after my last video. It was really heartwarming to read how much all of you missed us and how much you're looking forward to join us in this new adventure. My plan is to take you with us during this renovation process. Due to the size and scale of this house, it will be a longer ride. And it may be that there won't be new videos every week. That will be depending on the reno itself, but as well on my daytime job, which, as you can imagine, is quite demanding at the moment. I mean, it's a new school, a new curriculum, different kids in a different age range compared to the previous one. Because before I worked at an elementary school and now it's a high school. That's a big difference. Same for Laszlo, who works now in a totally new business. So bear with us if we do not take renovation first place at all the time. This is the moment when I realize that the ugly flooring was just there to hide an even nastier carpet. Later on you'll see that this carpet was full of dirt and stain. The previous owners had 2 dogs, and I think dogs and carpets are not a good combination. At least it was quite easy to dismantle. Removing all the boards took, in real time, roughly 10 minutes. Maybe someone missed his pencil over the last years? Now you can see the carpet in all its glory. It was my quite naive idea to use this wallpaper remover and simply just strip off the paper. And this is what someone looks like who realizes that the wallpaper is covered in latex paint and no steam whatsoever will be able to moisten it enough so that you can peel it off. So finally done. It took me and my siblings 5 hours. So we've been here with 4 people stripping wallpaper off the wall, and it really was a pain in the butt. I didn't record it because I thought, you see us for 5 hours ripping tiny little bits of wallpaper off the wall, and even on a time lapse that would be very boring to watch. But anyway, time to tidy up the chaos. There is a whole mess now here everywhere, and let's do it. Okay, now that the laminate floor has gone, the next step is to remove this old carpet. It's 20 years old. It's full of dust and debris and honestly, I don't want to know what else. But to remove this carpet floor, it's not that easy because it's glued to the subfloor. So it's not an easy job like roll it and remove it. We have to find some heavy equipment. The Duro Stripper. I don't know what this Duro stands for. The purpose of this machine is to push its blade underneath the carpet and remove it from the subfloor. But first, you'll have to find a starting point. Not that easy. professional tools rule. And another point of realization. Well, surprise, surprise, I think over time the glue has dried out because it's quite easy to get it off the floor. So fingers crossed. In the end, it was a two-man job, as this carpet was quite stiff and heavy. Teamwork, dreamwork, and so on. The old carpet is gone. What remains is a very sticky subfloor. And I found a hack on the internet, and it says with soapy water I could get rid of it. So I've got to work now. So now that Laszlo has speckled and sanded the walls, and they are absolutely smooth now and ready for paint, there's no more dust in this room. And this means that I can install the new floorboards. And it is exactly this stuff that we are going for. It is, in German we call it Fertigparkett. I don't know how to translate it into English. It would be something like ready to assemble parquet flooring. Quite funny, the English word is longer than the German one. Usually it's vice versa. But anyway, so this is the floor. It is a board, it's engineered wooden flooring. The top layer is oak. It is something like 5 millimeters or something. And the substructure, I think, is pine or fir, Douglas fir, whatever it is. So the system is exactly like laminate flooring, so you click each board to the next one, but you glue it down to the subfloor. And well, to be honest, we used this stuff before when we installed the floor at our neighbor's house, or even in the tiny house in, well, 2 years ago. But I never glued it to the floor before. The advantage is that it is much less noisy when you glue it down to the floor. Otherwise, you always have these clack sounds, click clack, and you always hear where somebody is walking. And when you glue it down to the concrete floor, it's definitely less noisy. And that's the reason why I started here laying down the floor off camera. So this is already done, and these boards are still waiting to be glued because I had to do my learnings with this adhesive. It is a two-component adhesive, so this is the adhesive itself, and you add this bottle of hardener to it. And it is, well, a pro stuff. So a professional gave me the advice to take this one or this brand. But the disadvantage is that it takes 45 minutes and then the adhesive starts to harden. So all of a sudden you just have something sticky stuff like old chewing gum. So pro tip number one, don't take the entire bucket and pour the entire hardener into the bucket. So you separate it, you take half of it and you take half of the hardener. Because in 45 minutes you will never be able, as a beginner like me, to use 10 kilos of adhesive before it starts to set. And second pro tip was to pre-cut all the boards before you glue them down. That's why you can see them here, but none of these boards is glued already. And this is something I'm going to do now. But as I said, first I have to mix the two components and then I'm going to start. So the floor is done, and I think it turned out to be quite beautiful. To work with this engineered wood was quite simple and quite easy because I did it before. But to work with this two-component adhesive, that was a little bit tricky because it sets very, very, very quickly. And so, for example, for a full bucket, you have 45 minutes. And this means you have to work in a hurry. And this means you have to pre-cut everything, put it to size, and then glue it down to the substructure. But, well, you learn by your mistakes. Let's keep it like this. Right now, it's highest time to bring some color to the wall, or to the walls. Of course, it would have been much more clever to paint the walls first, and then to do the work with the floor. But it is what it is. So, let's get started.
I decided to go for a chalk white for the walls. Under the critical eyes of someone.
So, painting is done, and the result is exactly not what I wanted. It turned out to be completely grey. What I wanted was a soft white, a white with a warmer tone. But, well, as I said, it turned out that chalk means grey. And what makes it even worse is the fact that this is exactly what Laszlo told me before. He said, let's not take this paint, let's take another one. And this is what we are going to do now. Means I will paint it again, and I will use Laszlo's paint. And, well, to be fair and to be honest, it's the better choice. Anyway, so let's get started all over again. It might not look different on camera, but in reality it is. This is the final color right now, and it is, well, it's not that grayish, not that bluish like the first one. The first one was very cold, so we decided to go for this one, which is much more like, well, a warm white, a cream white, and this fits much better to the floor. By the way, talking about floor, right now I'm installing the skirting board or baseboard, and because here in Germany most of the houses are made out of bricks and stone and concrete, that's why we have to glue it. I mean, we could use screws, for example, but we can't nail them to the wall as you can, for example, in the US. So that's why we use this adhesive. The skirting board itself is, I don't know if you can see it on camera, yeah. It has a classic touch. It is a very modern material, it's MDF, and it is pre-painted. And this is exactly the look that we are looking for, so it should be modern but with a classic touch, and that's why we chose to go for this one. So. This is the new wallpaper we decided to use. It is peel and stick and very easy to install. No drippy wallpaper adhesive and absolutely doable with 2 persons. We wanted a chinoiserie motif without looking too feminine. I think we achieved this goal. It's time now for the crown molding, and we use this stuff, which actually is styrofoam, but as soon as you paint it with regular wall paint, it looks exactly like original stucco, unless you don't knock at it, because of course it sounds like styrofoam. But from the looks, it's more or less original. More or less. Finally. This is the result of our effort. We added a touch of bling, our modern version of a chandelier. The reflections look very nice at night. Of course, it's not fully furnished yet. Pictures and more smaller furnitures are still missing, but it's a good start. Classic features with a modern twist. For example, instead of a ceiling rose, we went for this golden LED light. The 4-poster bed is old without being too much granny style. And the crown molding is classic and modern at the same time. See you all next time. Until then, stay safe and stay healthy. Now that the laminate floor is gone, we have to Now that the laminate floor has gone, we have to step to the next step, and we don't